Hello, everybody, and happy Monday to everybody. A rare Monday appearance for me in these last few months, but I am here as your host. By the way, I'm Charles Taylor, as you guys know, but I am your host for this latest edition of the Breath of Fresh Air Shorties on YouTube. And today, I want to talk about the Oakland Raiders. Now, the Oakland Raiders, their season has kind of gone down the toilet, honestly, after being 6-4, which was a surprise to me and a lot of other people. They have lost four in a row in bad fashion, accumulating with the loss on Sunday at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars, 20-16. Now, there's a lot of significance with this particular loss. Number one, this was the final home game as the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders will be moving to Las Vegas next year, and there's a lot of animosity. I'll get more to that in a minute. But also, it took out any playoff hopes the Raiders might have had. They were on a good note rolling through the season, actually doing a lot better than a lot of people thought. John Gruden, as the head coach, was actually getting props, and I gave him props because I thought it was going to be a absolute S show when he became the coach, because he was just doing crazy things that didn't really make sense at the time. But he has been able to coach this team up and get them to a level where they were at least in playoff contention, and for a little bit, they were in contention to win the AFC West division. Now, obviously, the Kansas City Chiefs have separated themselves in that regard, and they're going to be the division champs. But for a little bit, the Raiders were right there. It has all fallen by the wayside, and it has went down in a terrible, terrible crash. Starting with the loss they had by 31 points. I think it got beat 34-3 by the New York Jets. That was followed by a 40-9 loss to the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium. And then they got beat by the Tennessee Titans 42-21 last week. And then this week, losing at home to Jacksonville. So with the Raiders going through this, you combine that with the way they lost last night or on Sunday against the Jags at home, and this being the final home game in Oakland, everything just accumulated and it turned into an epic disaster at the end. Players were getting booed off the field. Derek Carr, the quarterback, was also getting booed off the field. He was going in trying to talk to some of the Raiders fans for the last little bit of time, and he was getting booed. Food was being thrown onto the field. People were getting arrested. It was a really ugly scene in Oakland yesterday. And what I think happened was everything from the frustration of seeing their team lose, that game in particular, but also the losing streak they had been on, and with the team moving to Las Vegas, everything just accumulated and it became really, really nasty, and it just bubbled over yesterday. And in regards to that move to Las Vegas, if you are a fan of the Raiders who resides in Oakland, think about what you have been through. Think about what those fans have been through for the last couple of years. They just saw their basketball team, the Golden State Warriors, which was wildly successful in the last 4 or 5 years or so, move across the bay to San Francisco. So yes, they are still technically in the Bay Area, but they're not in Oakland. The Golden State Warriors were ingrained in Oakland. They have been there for the last 40, 50 years or whatever it has been. And now you're moving them across the bay to San Francisco to this brand new arena, the Chase Center. All the luxury boxes, all suites, all the big money, and all that. That's where they wanted to move them. And now they're being moved. The Raiders are being moved to Las Vegas. So in the last few months, the Raiders, or the city of Oakland, has lost their football team and their basketball team. Now, again, granted, since they're in the Bay Area, I guess you can sit there and say, oh, well, they still have a lot of other teams they can cheer for. But it's just not the same when That team has been ingrained in the fabric of the city for so long. They have lost their football team and their basketball team. Now, of course, the Raiders had left before from Oakland. They went to Los Angeles for a little bit, and then they came back to Oakland before the '95 season. But they have been there for the last 20, 25 years. So now they're leaving for more money. And if you're the NFL, see, to me, all right, this is kind of the crux, or this is kind of the brunt of my rant today. Or I don't want to call it a rant, but maybe it is. You guys be the judge. But the NFL, for the longest time, they wanted nothing to do with a team in Las Vegas because of the gambling aspect and how they wanted to distance themselves from that. But now they want to put a team in Las Vegas because they see how much money can come into that and from that. So now here go the Raiders. They're moving to Las Vegas in this brand new stadium, not too far from the Las Vegas Strip, if you are familiar with that area. And now all this money, all this revenue is about to come in. The NFL could have stepped in and helped keep that team in Oakland. Obviously, there was a lot of debate on whether or not the team could get a new stadium. It was the same thing that happened with the Chargers while they were in San Diego, and now they're in Los Angeles. Go figure, two teams in Los Angeles. Like that disaster didn't happen before. But it's another story for another day. As for the Raiders, these guys are moving over to Vegas, and the NFL could have stepped in. If they really wanted to keep the team in Oakland, if they're so much about tradition, like they say they are, they could have stepped in and kept that team in Oakland. They did that for the Saints when it was rumored about the Saints going to whichever city, maybe San Antonio, maybe somewhere else. But the NFL stepped in because they didn't want the Saints to leave on the circumstances they would have left coming from the disaster that was Hurricane Katrina. So the NFL they have funds. They can step in and they can say, hey, we'll help put down something for a new stadium. It's not like they don't have the money to do it. They made $16 billion last year. It's not like the NFL is lacking for money or hurting for money. They could have stepped in and kept the Raiders there. But no, they went where the money follows them. And that's what the NFL always does. So anytime they try to tell you they're concerned about player safety or any of these other causes they want to try to make themselves out to be about, no. It's about the green. It's about the money. That is where they are going to go. That is always where they're going to go. Because this is the same company that says they're about player safety, but they want to add more games. So don't tell me they could not have stood in there and tried to help the Raiders stay in Oakland. If they really wanted to stay in Oakland, they could have found a way to stay in Oakland. And I think the fans understood that. And with everything that was going on, with the losing streak, with the team leaving, I just think that all bubbled over for the fans yesterday. I definitely feel their frustration, and I understand why they are frustrated. Do you wish they could have went about it a better way, where they're not throwing food on the field and getting arrested at the stadium? Absolutely. But I definitely understand why those fans are frustrated. Because a lot of people, as bad as the Raiders have been in the last couple of decades, they still are faithful to the Raiders. That is still a very loyal and very passionate fan base. And it's going to be interesting to see how everything is going to materialize when they do make that move to Vegas. Are you going to see the same Darth Vaders in there or the fans with spikes in there? I'm sure you'll see a few, but it's just something about the black hole and them being in Oakland. Now, that stadium is an absolute dump. I know that Oakland Coliseum is disgustingly bad, but there was some nostalgia with that stadium, and that is definitely going to be missed. Now, obviously, you want to be able to move on and get into the future. I get it, but there is something to be said about that tradition, and to see that passion from those fans in Oakland go away, and that is a sad day in my eyes. Well, that's what I'm breathing on for today. Make sure you guys get on the YouTube channel, the Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel, subscribe, hit that subscribe button, and check out this Shorty and others you might have missed to get caught up. Also, keep the likes coming on the Facebook page, and you can check us out on Twitter and LinkedIn and some of the other forums as well. So until then, I hope everybody has a good week, and we will talk later on. I think Patrick should be back with a Shorty as well, so he'll be breathing on something himself. But other than that, everybody take care, and we'll talk soon.